Olá, Tiago Faria, tiagofaria.pt, e este é o 19º episódio do podcast do Tiago. Eu hoje tenho a honra e o prazer de falar com o Miles Beckler. É uma pessoa que eu já tenho seguido há quase 3 anos, foi em setembro de 2016 que eu descobri o seu conteúdo e desde então comecei a consumi-lo religiosamente. Eu sigo diariamente não só por ser uma fonte, uma barragem de conhecimento, mas também por todos os recursos que ele partilha, por todas as pessoas que ele recomenda que nós sigamos e para filtrar todos aqueles gurus e aqueles vendedores de cobra. E eu devo-lhe quase tudo o que sou hoje em dia, o que sei, e realmente é um prazer enorme ter aqui o Miles Beckler. Olá, Miles. Welcome to my channel.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on, Tiago.
This has been on the making for the past 2 months, but we managed to make it. Thank you so much for your time. Truly appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
So for those who shamefully still do not know who you are here in Portugal, would you mind giving them a quick intro, like who you are, what you do?
Sure. So I'm a digital marketer, digital entrepreneur. In 2003, I learned how to make money online on a website you might know of called MySpace. I learned the basics of affiliate marketing on MySpace, yet I was doing it completely wrong. So after a 6-month, maybe a year run of making $3,000, $4,000 a month, it went to zero. But the reality of making money online got solidified in that experience. It became real. I got checks in my hand. They actually cashed. It was like, wow, this actually works. Took until 2009 for my wife and I to co-found a site in the meditation space. We still run that website today, but in the early days, it wasn't generating much cash flow. So I was building WordPress websites and I was doing digital marketing services for local businesses for the 4 years. So we kind of were working 2 ends of the same game. We were doing digital marketing for my wife's business, and I was doing it, outsourcing it, kind of freelancing for local businesses. That's how I kind of stayed afloat. Since that time, our digital business has generated multiple millions of dollars. And in 2016, I started teaching everything I know for free on YouTube, all of the tactical nuts and bolts, bits and pieces, plus the mindset stuff. And then that has now grown. And at this point, we have the meditation business, we have my brand, and I've got a couple other little offshoots that I do for fun. How'd I do, Tiago? That you know the story. That's about it, right?
Amazing, completely well compiled. And I really found you in 2016. I've been almost the original ones. You started in August. I think I found you in September, October, or even November. It was cold, rainy in Dublin, and I was watching you in the rain. Oh Jesus, this is really what I was looking for. Super glad.
That's awesome.
But before we go there, you have a fascinating origin story. Like you are the real hardcore entrepreneur that bounced off rock bottom, as you say. Would you mind going a bit back to that moment? Just
Sure.
If you could share something about that and how you surpassed
Absolutely. So I had my first little success online. I was living at home with my parents. I was still at university. So I had no cost of living really. I moved out, and when it all came crashing down, I started to seek out opportunities, and I put that in air quotes for anyone listening.
Yes.
There's this whole world, and it's a very scammy world of get rich quick schemes, and the opportunity, the biz op world, if you will. And so from 2003 through 2009, which is when we started my wife's website, there was a string of failed endeavors, of failed ventures, of failed businesses, everything from real estate investing to multi-level marketing to network marketing to other websites. And I was buying into one of these companies all in. And I sold my car for cash because they just kept saying, just keep with it. Just keep introducing people to the program. Eventually it's going to work, and you have to get to the convention. So I sold my wife's car. We now had no cars, and I took that cash and put it into the business as well. And we literally ran out of money. I had no car. She had no car. We were freshly married, and we had no money. And I had to essentially move back in with my parents. My dad was 68 years old, retired, very small house in the San Francisco area. I mean, very small house.
Yes.
And here I am, 30 years old. I had made big promises to my wife about, I'm going to be a successful entrepreneur. Just stick with me, babe. I got you covered. And I was just doing things wrong, right? And sometimes out of these low points, we can find new motivations. Disgust can be a very powerful powerful and empowering emotion when analyzed through the right perspective. And it was in that moment that I realized I was doing everything wrong. I was simply trying to get money from people. That was it. I was like, where's my scheme? Where's my scam? Where's my way to hustle up a little bit of cash from somebody? I'm gonna get money from someone. And in that moment, we made the decision consciously to, if we focus on giving value to others, and if we can reach enough people and help enough people, and in that time frame that things were going terrible, the only thing that felt good in my life was meditating. I hated my life. I did not enjoy the reality I had created for myself, but the hour of meditation, of disappearing with my headphones on, made me feel great. I just lit up with positive energy. So we were like, you know what? If this is helping me and I'm having a rough run, I can guarantee that there's a few million people around the world also not enjoying the life they've created. Maybe these meditations would help them. And my focus shifted in that moment to, how can we get these out to other people to help other people? And since that point in 2009, today is actually the exact 10-year anniversary of that website with my wife and I. I checked the domain registration. Yeah. And since then, her website has reached 33 million people. We've had millions of downloads of our audio meditations. She has over 100,000 subscribers, 10 million plus video views. And everything we put out is about helping people. And we have products. When you build your business and you help people, you give enough value, eventually they're like, okay, everything you've given me is great. What can I buy from you? Because I just want to reciprocate. There's a law of reciprocity. So it was out of that real challenge from doing things wrong and going all in on the scams and listening to the kind of it's easier than it is, the get rich quick ideas, hit rock bottom, bounced off of that, and built it with a solid foundation this time around.
And I know meditation had something to do with about it. But what made you realize that giving was the secret sauce? Like, was it someone you heard? Was it Jay Abraham? Was it something before that?
So that was before I really got into Jay Abraham.
That was before.
He's brilliant, by the way. At that point, I think it was much more in the world of metaphysics, in the law of attraction ideas. There's a book called The Celestine Prophecies, which is it's a fictional book. It's a story. It's a great fictional story that talks about energy and giving and receiving energy. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Even that, like, Zig Ziglar has the quote, you can get anything you want in this world if you help enough other people get what they want. Yes. And it's just, there's that truth. And I knew it all along, but I was allowing myself to be emotionally manipulated by the allure of get rich quick, by the allure of 30 days and you'll be making 10 grand a month. It's the slot machine allure.
It's basically in human nature, right? We really have to fight that somehow.
Yes, it is. And that's why it still works. And that's why it's worked since the 1800s. And that's why it will always work. And we literally have to learn how to defend ourselves. And it was just kind of like, when I looked back over the 15 businesses that failed, I was like, okay, like none of that worked. What is the opposite of that? Well, it's just focusing on giving and ultimately building an email list was the one idea. Because when my business on MySpace crashed around me, I didn't have an email list. I was linking people from MySpace to a vendor. So I was a middleman and I made money for being a middleman, but I had no asset that was able to survive when they turned off my links because they sold MySpace. And so it was kind of that realization of like, you know what, let's build a list. Let's just give value to people. And it was kind of sometimes when we're at the bottom and you look up, you're like, why? Like, and you just kind of get that little intuitive nudge of like, well, you did it wrong. Like, just go give this time. Focus on giving and everything will be okay. And it's like, well, what do I have to lose at that point was literally how we felt. And then when we started publishing content and people started saying, thank you, I love this, and they started sharing it, that felt good. And those emotional rewards in the early days are what sustained us until the financial rewards kind of got there as well. And it was like, if it feels good, just like the meditation felt good, I'm just going to keep doing more of that. And at one point on that business path, we had a heart to heart and it was like, man, we weren't making that much money. My wife had a full-time job still. I was hustling up the websites. And it was like, is it worth it? And we were like, you know what, whether we make our money doing these meditation things or not, the feedback is amazing. We're really helping people. So regardless, if we both have to have side jobs and do this part-time, that's what it is, right? If we have to have other jobs to support sharing these messages, we have to do that because that's why we're here on earth. And I think when that commitment was made that no matter what we were doing this, the doors really started to open for us.
Absolutely. And you touched on an amazing point that I'm really noticing the difference, the email marketing, that when done right, the way you showed and the resources you shared, it works wonders. I mean, I get answers weekly, people just thanking me for the content. Like, it's something that really adds, when you add value to people every single day,
Yeah.
people just adore it. The email is not bad, like people say, right?
Yeah, no. And if you think of any deals that people put together, anything that's big, the back and forth always goes via email. I just refinanced a house because interest rates are low. There's no Facebook Messenger going on to put together a deal like that, right? And the vendors who supplied that made thousands of dollars in commissions from selling the loans, right? Like we all still actually live in and on our email. The thing is, most people are bored, they are frustrated, and they're living a life they don't love. And if you can give them a glimmer of hope and a glimmer of positivity, and maybe just give a little more value, because everybody's trying to get something from them. Yeah. If you're the one voice who's giving to them, you just stand out, and they begin to look for your messages. Absolutely. And when you get those thank you replies to a marketing email, that's how you know you're on the right path.
Exactly. And it's like an amazing experience when you just go through it for the first time. It's like, this is the right thing to do. And it's really, it gives you pleasure to work like this. It's amazing. So, and in 2010, you said it was around this year, I think, that you started selling services for local businesses, or was it a bit before? It was around that time, right?
It was right around then.
Yeah, you had already started Ask Angels with your wife, and you wanted to support the initial stages of that. How was that experience initially? I mean, you had this idea, okay, I'm gonna have to start doing something. I'll just use the knowledge I learned, right?
So yeah, and it's tied into my story, right? The physical location. So I was living at my parents' house. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I went and got a local job, customer support representative. So yes, I would work 40 hours a week for them, an hour commute each direction. And then my wife and I would work nights and weekends building her thing. And I got burnt out. I don't love cities. I don't love hustle and bustle. I don't love the rat race. So I decided I was just going to quit and go to the mountains and live near a ski resort and snowboard all winter long. And I pretty much put in my resignation, and that company said, no, we're not letting you go. You're too valuable. We'll keep you on for 20 hours a week on a contract basis so you can help out with these other things. And in that 6 months or so I worked with them, I kind of transitioned into helping them with WordPress. I started helping them with SEO. I started showing that I could do more than just the customer support. So then we moved up there. I had not enough income to cover my life, but I had enough, and I was now freelancing, that it was like, you know what, if I had 1 or 2 clients, I could just stay at home, and that would save me hours each way that I could put into our business. Yeah. And, I started making money online in 2003. Many different failed attempts. Out of those failed attempts from 03 to 09, I learned a ton, right? We learn more from our failures than we do from our successes generally. So I knew a lot of things, and we were getting traffic to my wife's website. So I had this proof of like, look, we know what we're doing. So I went all in on meeting people. I started a meetup group in this new town I went to talk about, attraction marketing, how to use marketing in a way to draw the right people to you, because that's what my wife and I were doing. And, things just lined up quickly. It was a vacation town. It was a resort town. And I met one business owner who wanted some jobs, and then they knew another business owner. And then just that one thing after another, all of a sudden I had more clients than I knew what to do with. And I had to learn how to build a team and outsource projects. And it grew quicker than I imagined. Again, I just showed up at that meetup group to try to help people. And I was like, I just want to help. I don't know. And they were like, can we hire you? And I was like, well, I guess I got time. How much? I don't know. And I was like $25 an hour, and they were like, done. I was like, okay, that worked. Because that was a little bit more than I was making from the other job. And I was like, well, as long as I make a little bit more, I'm fine. And then that just went and just really turned into quite the business on its own.
Incredible, man. Incredible. And from your experience initially in those early stages working with local businesses, what do you think are the main mistakes that those business owners make when they approach this kind of online thing, or ignore it?
Ignore it. They ignore it. They think it's just magic, and they think like, I don't know enough about it. Most of them have been burned by someone in the past, whether it was their nephew or their cousin said, oh, I'll build you a website, and they never actually built it and nothing happened. Or they think that, well, I have a website. I put up 3 pages and that's it. It's there. Like the idea that a brochure, a website's supposed to be a brochure, versus the idea that a website is a living, evolving thing that is never finished. And it's that concept that Google loves. Google wants to see your website constantly getting new content. And so that was it. There was a disconnect between, they knew that if they were on top of Google for their best keyword phrases, that they would absolutely grow their business, but they didn't know what their best keyword phrases were. They didn't take the time to learn how to do it. And they just kind of like ignored it, hoping it would go away or they would magically rank higher. And I was able to help them see, like, well, look, my wife and I are getting 60,000 clicks a month from Google because we did this. Why aren't you doing that? Oh, I don't have time. Well, do you want me to do that for you? Like, it's pretty easy to do. But as a business owner, we're busy, right? Business owners are super busy. They don't know who to trust. So it was just kind of like bridging the knowledge gap and then being willing to help. And that just kind of blossomed. It was like, you know, water and fertilizer on a little flower. And all of a sudden it just, boom, sunflower.
Was it that easy, or what were like the main objections you had to overcome? Like limiting beliefs about digital SEO, this shit doesn't work, or something like that?
So I had enough data and from my own account that it was clearly working for us. Like we clearly were driving tons of traffic. I could go log into my analytics and show real time right now. And there's, you know, on my wife's website at this exact moment, I guarantee there's 130, 150 people on it. And we have not mailed yet today. When we mail, it'll go up to like 500, 600 people. So I can just open it and say, look, like, how would your business be right now if you had, you know, 150 people browsing around at your digital offerings? You know, be like, oh my gosh, that would, like, I don't even have 150 people walk in here. And then also showing the data of the search volumes. That's another thing that a lot of business owners don't realize. You can just go to a keyword tool and you could pull actual search volume and you could see how many people search for massage in Reno or, you know, massage Lake Tahoe. And it's like, wow, there's 4,000 people a month searching for that. And by the way, you're on page 7, right? And then it's like, have you ever gone to page 7 in Google? And they're like,
people are looking for you, right? Actively
people are looking for you. Thousands of people a month are looking for you. No one can find you. Would you like to resolve this problem? And my approach was always, I don't care if they're willing to invest in their business. It's them. If you want to let your business fall, it's like you are the captain of your ship. I'm willing to get in the engine room and help your engine run more efficiently. But if you want to drive your ship into the rocks, aye, Captain, that's all you. Like, I'm just going to go find someone else who understands the value of this. And again, through the meetup group that I was running, I was attracting the right kind of people to me because it was an attraction marketing meetup group. It was about the law of attraction and digital marketing, that intersection. So people who even showed up to that understood the philosophy of, if we kind of do things right in our world, we will bring the right kinds of people to us. So that's like a pre-frame, right? They were pre-framed to understand the overarching philosophy of why Google works in the way that it works.
And it showed they were willing to grow their business, which is also key, right?
That is, if you're not willing to invest in your business, like, cool, you're headed towards rocks. I hate to break it to you, but if you don't rank on Google and if you don't take care of your terrible reviews, your business is going to die. Like, I'm okay to say that. Like, I don't care. I'm not invested in your business, but if you don't want to die, if you would like to make money and actually turn this thing profitable, here's a plan that we can put in for you that's worked for 3, 4, 5 other people I've worked with. Yes, no, next. Whether they said yes, whether they said no, I really didn't care. I was on to the next, having the next conversation. Because from the standpoint of a digital marketing consultant, there are so many businesses that need our services. There are so few people who are willing to J. Abraham to take the strategy of preeminence, of giving value first, that we just stand out. All you have to do is stake your ground and, you know, turn on your lighthouse and be that beacon consistently. That's why a meetup group is a very powerful tool. That's why a podcast is a very powerful tool. You become that beacon of light. And when people say no, that just means not right now. They actually want what you have. They probably could afford it, but they got 19 other things going on in their life, and their dog died, and the veterinarian bill is too big, and their son is about to get married, and their cousins are coming out to stay with them, and they just can't think of one more thing. But 3 months from now, they might be ready, right? So it's about keeping the lines of communication open, and just that's where being the lighthouse. Because at some point they're like, oh, that's right, the digital stuff I have to do that now. And then they show up and they're like ready to go. And it's like, whoa, we haven't talked for like 3 months. Like, okay, let's do this. How about we sit down tomorrow and get started on this?
Brilliant, brilliant, Miles. And based on all of that, what would be the top 3 things that a business owner should focus on now to grow their business using the online medium? So it should be creation of content and SEO. That would be one pillar, right?
Yeah.
What we consider to be the next.
So the first, and there's a step before that step.
Yes.
And the step before that step is to really identify and commit to a specific platform. So generally speaking, you want to like, what is the user behavior of your best customers? So an example, I mentioned massage therapy, right? So massage therapy, and it maybe bridges the gap in both directions, but when someone is ready for a massage, what do they do? Do they go browse around on Facebook hoping to see an ad for it? Or do they go to Google and they type in best massage in Lisbon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Their cousins are up to, or they're trying to show off how cool their life is by posting another selfie. And we interrupt them in that moment with a new idea. Skin cream, skincare, these types of things. And massage can fit into that world. But there are things like a plumber. If your water heater is leaking, you go straight to Google and you look immediately for who is the plumber who's open right now close to me. So another way of looking at that is wants versus needs. If people just want what you have and they don't need it, Facebook could work, social media could work. If people need what you have right now, Google all the way. So from there, it's identifying your most valuable keyword phrases. What are the phrases people are searching for that actually connect you to your best customers? Okay. So emergency plumbing repair might be that phrase. And we want to rank them based on how many searches per month they have. From there, it is content, as you mentioned. Like that's the big thing, is creating lots of relevant, helpful content and doing it in a way that's optimized for the search engines. SEO is really quite simple, and it takes more effort over long periods of time than anything. And you got to plan to stick with your content campaign for 6 months to 1 year. It's just a long-term game. But when you get it dialed in and you become the number, it's an asset. And yeah, when you become number one, you're number one generally for many, many years. So it will pay dividends. That's the core of everything. I think it's important for most local business owners to also pay for their best clicks, to do the Google ads for their best phrases as well. Because if you don't take that real estate on the first page of Google, your competitors will. And you just need to beat your competitors, because the game of business is it's a brutal game, right? We have to be on attack and defense all at the same time. And then from there, conversion optimization, or taking time to really analyze what displays on your homepage when people load it, what displays on the page, how are you calling them to action? These little marketing things that improve the response rate. So when someone does click on your ad, or when someone does click on your listing in Google, the organic link, a page loads. Well, what do they do when that page loads? Do they read it? Do they click the back button? Do they click the call now? Do they actually call you? Do you want them just to show up and just to drive to your place? Like, so you have to really kind of, and this gets into abstraction of what is the number one goal of this page? What is the number one goal of the website? And then how good of a job are we doing facilitating getting that user who expressed interest by clicking to taking that specific action? And this is kind of conversion rate optimization. And we can use tools like heat mapping. There's even tools most people don't realize that can record the actual session in video. So I can see on my website when a visitor lands there, I can watch what they do with their mouse. I can watch how far they scroll. I can watch if they highlight words on the page. Like literally, it records their actual session. And this type of research can uncover like leakage points and things on your page. Like they're clicking this button over and over, and it's not a button, it's an image. And the user thinks it's an image. You don't think that image should do anything. But if that image opened a call to action box, or if that image initiated a phone call, you might triple the response. So here you are spending $3 a click, and 1 in 10 clicks takes an action, but you might be able to get 3 in 10 to take the action if you find and fix one of those things, which increases your return on investment for the click by 300%. would you like 300% more ROI? And that takes a lot of data, a lot of analysis, and a lot of critical thinking. But that's the really important stuff, because step one is get them on your site, and step two is get them to take the action you want.
Absolutely. Super well summarized. Thank you so much. And I know you're also, of course, a mega fan of information-based marketing. You have a kind of information digital product website with your wife, and also affiliate marketing. Do you think that is something that business owners should also take a look at as a complement to their local business? What is your opinion about that?
So the margins on digital-based products are amazing, right? You can get up to 95, 96% margins, depending on what a merchant rate is. And maybe you pay 5% for merchant fees or something. But so, with that said, we're kind of moving out of the information age. We've been in the information age, but there's so much information out there that many businesses are able to position themselves as the kind of thought leaders in their space. And by default, if you give me the opportunity, so let's say I'm looking for an example on my desk, and I got crystals and pens. So let's say I want to learn calligraphy, right? I want to learn how to write like really fancy calligraphy, and I'm all in on it. And I'm going to sign up for a course. I'm committed. I'm like, I'm going to go sign up for a course. I'm going to take lessons, and I'm going to do some home study of calligraphy. And let's say there is a pen store who not only sells the most amazing pens in their beautiful showroom, they also sell their beautiful pens online from their e-commerce store. And they have a training program that will teach me how to write fancy words with fancy pens, right? They're teaching me the skill. They're helping me build the desire to want more of the products that they have through information. And it would behoove them to have a free course. Like, get a free course, right? That free course could be bundled with a physical product purchase. So buy the $17 starter calligraphy pen and get the free calligraphy course. That's one way to use information. The other way would be enter your email address and get the free calligraphy course that'll teach you how to blank to blank. And then they're collecting leads. And now I'm on their email list, and they have the legal right to be able to market to me, but they want to keep educating me. Right? We buy from people we think are experts. We buy from people who have our best interest in mind. We buy from people we like and trust, and people we feel like we know. And how do you bridge that gap is what we were talking about earlier in the email marketing. You send helpful, friendly emails to them, and eventually it's like, wow, this is cool. And I'm doodling with my, my $3 Uniball Vision pen. And eventually I'm looking around for it because I got a fountain pen here. Oh, here's my fountain pen. Eventually I want to buy a fancier pen, right? This is like a $22 fountain pen, but fountain pens, these things can sell for $900. These things can sell for 1,500 euros, right? There are companies that Mont Blanc is one that sells very expensive pens. Rolex, I think, has a line of pens as well. And how do you get someone like me who has just now gone from a $2 pen to a $20 pen up to an $800 pen? That's freaking crazy, right? Education, building a relationship. At some point, there's a path that gets people down that road. And if you're staying in touch and you're helping me understand the pens and the value and this and that and all the reasons why it makes sense for someone to go farther down this example, let's say there's a business broker, and this business broker inks $100 million deals. He sells $100 million businesses. And at one point in that process, everyone sits down in a closing room and everyone signs on the dotted line. And he's putting together a buyer and a seller for $100 million business. And he's about to make 2.5, 3.5, $5 million. Do you think that man wants to go do that with a $2 freaking pen? What kind of pen does that guy want everyone to sign with? A very heavy, fancy, shiny pen that when he pulls that pen out, it has one job, and that job is making millions of dollars. And when that pen is associated with that story in his mind, his willingness to spend 1,000 euros on a freaking pen goes way up. And how do you get him there? Well, you meet him where he's at, and you kind of just keep working with him through education and stories and help and this, that, and eventually you might start selling $1,000 pens.
You just answered the "sell me this pen" question,
right? It goes up and up from there, and then the key, like, that applies to everything, right? That applies to crystals, right? That applies literally. It applies to everything. It applies to dishwashers. You can go buy. Look at the variety of dishwashers you can buy, from the $200 dishwasher up to the Malay that's 2,500 euros, right? Like, why is that? There's all of this, and we buy based on emotional reasons, and is really, we're getting kind of deep into the what actually compels people to take action. Because if we just needed pens, a 25-cent Bic round pen, like that's the only pen that should be made. If we just need a writing instrument, right? If you just need a car that gets you from point A to point B, why are there Ferraris? Why are there Maseratis? Why are there Lamborghinis that cost, or Maybachs that cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars? At that point, you're beyond a vehicle that will get you from point A to point B. It's serving an emotional need. And every business owner actually serves an emotional need within their people and a physical need. It's a slippery slope down all of this.
It's a super important topic because the vast majority of local businesses are too focused on them, like describing their services and we are awesome. And very few focus on what you just said, the emotional attachment. How will that person's life be improved by your products and services, right? That is something that there's still a lot of work to do.
Well, and we all think, because our logical mind is loud, right? We hear our ego mind, our logic mind is loud. And we think that mind is running the show. Well, I'm smart and I analyze the deals and this is the best one because I thought about it. The deep down truth is that our emotions are running the game, and that the emotions fire a moment before the logic fires. And the logic is literally just a rationality voice to rationalize that emotional response we just had. And when our websites, our copy, our advertisements, our steps in our funnel, our calls to action are triggering them on the emotional level, everything works. And most business owners will write it logically. I am at 255 Main Street and I sell the best priced thing ever. So come down and buy the best priced thing. And like, well, you're missing that other layer of emotional story that's going to really pull them in and pull them down the path.
Absolutely. Just a few days ago, you shared that I think one of your best videos was the 0 to 10,000 per month video, the plan, like the steps. Cool. Could you quickly summarize those steps in like 1 minute? Like what is, if you want to start an affiliate business, right? Like you're saying, which many of my friends and colleagues are thinking about that. Please summarize what are the main things that you should focus if you want to really go to that 10K a month mark.
Yeah. So, I like the pop quiz, man. It's like, what did I say in that video? You got me like, what did I say in that one?
Just what's in your mind?
And for most people, my videos they're not scripted. I shoot from the hip. I come up with an idea and I just ramble for a few minutes to get it out because that's just my content creation process. So, but there is a structure to it. Absolutely. And, Jay Abraham talks a lot, like all the greats talk about this in their own way. And so I break it up into kind of 3 phases. There's the audience phase, there's the trust phase, and then there's the monetization phase. Yeah. So phase 1 is, it always starts with like, who can you help? Who can you help and what can you help them with, right? Because people buy results, and sometimes the result is a pen, a fancy writing instrument, right? It's a thing. It's sometimes a result is a car. It's a physical, tangible thing that I'm going to purchase. Other times the result is less tangible. It's I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to rank #1 on Google. Either way, it's a result. So realizing you're selling results and then figuring out who can I help and what result can I help them get. Once you realize what that is, you need to go grow an audience of these people. So what do you think? Where are they? What are they searching for? What are they looking for? And go create the right kind of content to help them so they find you and they're like, wow, this is great. So Tiago, in 2016, you were doing some drop shipping stuff. You were living in it was me just telling something. You're like, wow. And then you watch another video and another, and here we are years later, and I'm still doing the same thing. I'm growing my audience is what I'm doing because I value the audience. So then once you have an audience machine going, you're connecting with thousands of new people per month, whether it's on Google, on a podcast, on YouTube, then at that point, you need to build an email list. And this is the trust part. The first trust is, do they trust you enough to give you their email address? Right? It's a big deal. My inbox is on blast by so many people. I get people adding me to freaking email lists. I don't want to be on your email list. Report as spam, right? So in exchange for their email, you offer them something of value. The calligraphy writing example, the free course, a 7 video course is going to teach you how to write your name in calligraphy beautifully type thing. So it's an exchange for a thing. And then you have to honor that relationship by giving more value. You can make offers in there, but you got to make sure you give 3-4 valuable emails in between every offer, or else they're going to feel like they're on blast and you're just promo, and they're unsubscribe. Then we get the monetization phase. And the monetization phase is not about selling things. We don't get a right to sell things to people. Everyone wants to buy stuff. We live in a capitalist globe at this point. It is not just an American phenomenon at this point. We live in a very capitalistic world. People fill needs by purchasing things. And every person listening to this, I put money on it, they have either bought something within the last 24 hours or they will buy something within the next 24 hours. Period. Whether it's a bottle of wine or whether it's a fancy pen or a basic, like there's just something they're going to buy. So the idea and the reason I mentioned that is that everyone on your email list already wants to buy things. So you then simply help them get the results that they want. And the results come from the things that they buy. So that's it. So we grow an audience, we build trust with that audience, and we help that audience get what they want. Everyone wants to improve their lives. Everyone wants to eliminate the pains and the challenges and the struggles of life. Humans are motivated by the stick or the carrot. Forward motivation towards what we want, or we run away from what we don't want. Someone who gets diagnosed with a very serious illness has a very strong motivation to run away and fix that thing. And then there's people like us, Tiago, who are like, I want to live a better life. I don't want to work in a cubicle all of my life. I want to create something more, and I'm willing to do nights and weekends and invest time and energy to build a better life. We're moving towards a brighter goal. So we just help people connect with what they want. And you've probably noticed in my videos that I have dozens of affiliate recommendations sprinkled throughout. Yep. And it's, my keyword research video, I teach how to do it. And by the way, if you want to use the tool that I use, it's right here. And that's an affiliate relationship, which means I get a commission if someone clicks through and buy. I don't care if you click through and buy, but if you want to learn how to do it how I do it, that's helped me generate 33 million clicks from Google. Well, this is how I do it. And I use this tool, and it logically, a lot of people have taken that action because of how I positioned it.
There you go, people. The secret. Yep. Everyone else is selling for €1,000 courses.
Yeah. And right now, the cool part is it's all about scale. And I have my cell phone in my pocket, right? So all of my first videos were made on this. This is a $250 phone. This is not a flagship phone. This is just a basic Motorola thing that I got.
It's still the same from 2016? No. Almost.
No, I think I broke that one. I think that one died on me, and I got this phone instead. But I didn't go get $1,000 digital SLR. I didn't go get anything fancy. My headset, some of my videos are on, is right here. I'm on my fancy microphone, but like 30 euro headset is what I use for most of my videos in the beginning. And what I'm getting at is that everyone has the technology to connect with millions of people. My videos have had 5 or 6 million views. It's crazy. It's mind-blowing to me that that many millions of people have watched my videos simply because I took the habit of, click record. Hey, I'm Miles, and I'm going to teach you how to blah, blah, blah today. And I did that enough times over that I've now reached millions of people. Exactly. So I don't have to sell big things. I don't have to go get $10,000 from Tiago, and I got to hard sell Tiago into a really expensive thing so I can earn my living. I have all these little micro assets that connect people with a $20 tool or connect people with $5 a month hosting, and I get a kickback on all of that. And the sum of all of that, those little micro assets mixed with the fact that I reach millions of people, has resulted in, tens upon tens of thousands of dollars a month in recurring income.
Absolutely. And you touched on the video point, which is, there's a common misbelief that most business owners have, that, I'm shy to be on camera. I don't know, it's not going to work. I think you had a similar experience, right? How did you overcome that initial?
Just keep doing it, man. Everything is awkward the first 10, 20, 30 times we do it. Have you ever tried to surf, Tiago?
Yeah, it was not. I kind of had an accident, so I didn't.
It's horrible. Like surfing, it looks so beautiful and flowy. It is the freaking hardest thing in the world. Like I said, I moved up to a snowboarding resort. I mean, my gosh, for years, snowboarding for me was flop, right? Like everything in this life has a learning curve. Everything in this life that we try, we're like, ooh, I'd love to be an artist. I'd love to be able to paint beautiful things. Well, guess what? Your first painting is going to be horrible. But if you stick with it and you do a second painting and a third and a fourth, and then you watch a couple of videos and you learn a technique and then a fifth and then a sixth, your videos are still, your paintings or videos as we're talking about are still going to suck. So I did 120 videos in 120 consecutive days. How quick can I compress this learning curve? Yeah. And by about day 60 or 70, I really started to get comfortable. It was no longer awkward to have this moment. Cause like, so Tiago, you're looking at a lens on a camera. I'm sitting, I don't know, 6,000 miles away on a different continent. I'm looking at a lens of a camera, but yet we're able to do this in a way that I still feel your presence. There is an intimate connection here because we both have learned how to just kind of relax into knowing that this lens is an experience with another human being. And then we get real and we get honest. And at that point, the viewers can feel that. And people don't want highly produced production value. People don't want fancy videos. They'll go to Hollywood. They'll go watch the new Avengers movie for that. On YouTube, they just want real, honest truth. They want somebody who's just going to tell it like it is and actually show them how to do that which they're searching for. And when you're that person, they'll come to like you. Know, like, and trust you, actually, is what they'll come to eventually.
There you go. And you did it for so long. And only last year, you started the Content and Conversion membership.
Yep.
Can you tell us a bit about that project and how you decided to start it?
Yeah. So, my whole goal has been to give everything away for free because I wanted to prove that you can truly build an abundant business on pure giving. And then, so I taught every tactic I knew, I taught every strategy I knew, and people still have questions. Well, but Miles, like, how does this work? Well, why does that? And it's like, well, come on, like, I did a video on that. And eventually people were like, Miles, I need a way. I want to buy your product. I want something. So I had the idea that creating an inner circle membership that based on a forum would allow people to ask me questions and to get me to kind of help apply what I teach to their unique situation. Right. So I teach how to do Facebook ads and like, well, that's great. But what about me? I teach kids how to play guitar, or I teach musicians how to record albums. And how does that apply to me? So I needed a system to facilitate conversations. So I think I did nothing but videos for about 2.5 years. Yes. 2 years, maybe 2.5 years before ever launching a product. And now it's pretty much, it's kind of closed. I have to evolve it because I'm typing too much. My wrists are now, I'm feeling the repetitive stress and stuff. So
you made the landing page for that course. I think nobody read it. I was one of those. Read it, I just went to it. Okay, good.
Where's the button? Scroll. Where's the button? And that's because of all of the value I gave for 2+ years beforehand. And that's the trick. That's the trick to everything, right? And we humans are impatient. We humans want things now. We want results fast. We're an instant gratification world. And learning how to delay gratification as an entrepreneur is probably one of the biggest, strongest skills we can have. I think you had Alexander Ford on. He sometimes goes on a lot of rants about what's your time horizon, right? And for business owners, if you get into digital marketing and you're like, okay, 30 days, this needs to work. Go call somebody else. It ain't gonna happen, right? Paid ads, maybe. But if you want to get an SEO strategy implemented, minimum of 6 months. Like, that's just what it takes. But are you willing to commit 6 months of hard work for 5 years of a completely revolutionized business that does twice as much revenue? Yeah. I am. Most people aren't. I am. I'm all in on that. So I constantly look at ways, how can I invest my time, my energy, and my money today to create future rewards in the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years, which is why I'm analyzing that membership program that I started of like, okay, how do I reorganize this in a way that's going to be sustainable for 3, 5 years? Because what I'm doing now isn't, and I need a new foundation. And the challenges of being an entrepreneur. And this was fun. It's a puzzle. It's a game. It's a big game.
Absolutely. I'm sure you'll find the greatest path of them all.
I already got a couple of cool ideas.
Yeah. Can't wait for it. Okay, Miles, we're approaching the end, but I had to ask you this question because it's something you kind of defend both sides of this equation, okay? And I have to choose one. So if you had to choose between being a remarkable copywriter that turns visitors into customers very quickly, or a remarkable content creator that attracts thousands of potential customers and creates trust in your brand, who would you choose?
Copywriter.
Aha.
Undoubtable. Unflinching. And here's why. The most difficult thing to figure out in the world of business is an offer that converts. That's it. Once you have an offer that converts, traffic is never a problem. I can go find somebody to run Pinterest ads. I can go find somebody to do Pinterest organic traffic, Facebook ads, Facebook organic traffic, Bing ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, banner ads. The list goes on and on. Traffic is actually the easy side of the game. Crafting an offer that converts is getting another human being to, from a web page, after clicking from, they're on Facebook, they just published their selfie of themselves, trying to make themselves look really good. And they're like, they're really getting that selfie up. Now I publish that, and then an advertisement shows up. And they're not thinking about this. They don't care about this. They click, and it's a sales page. And they read through this, and they're like, they went from thinking about themselves, posting a selfie, to considering buying something in 2 clicks in 6 minutes. That is magic. That is that's alchemy. It is absolute magic. It takes an incredible skill set to get someone to that frame of mind to be ready to improve their life and purchase something in that moment. And once you have that kind of an offer, you could just, I could buy $1 million a day in traffic and never run out of traffic to buy. The real challenge is coming up with that offer that converts. Ultimately, you do need both, and that's the answer is all of the things, because you kind of can't have one without the other. But the more I'm in this game, and so the copywriting also comes into play. What title did you put on this hangout, by the way, Tiago? Like, how good was that title? What's your click-through rate on this title? What about the description, right? The first 5 sentences that you said in Portuguese, I wasn't with you on that, but obrigado on that. How good was that at hooking the viewer in to watch the rest of this video? And that's how copywriting is infused in everything that we do. Every blog post title, every blog post description, every first 3 paragraphs of every blog post we ever write, that's copywriting. We either don't think about it and it's terrible and it doesn't hook people in, or, and this is what great storytellers do, you pick up a book. The Celestine Prophecy is a great book. I've never mentioned that on my channel before. You pick it up and you start reading, and you get a page into it, and the story just pulls you in, and then this happens and that, and you're like, oh my gosh, and it's a page turner. You can't put it down. And when your sales copy does that, and they can't stop reading because it's like, oh my gosh, and it's a sales message. Oh man, that's the $10 million, $20 million, $100 million trick right there, in my opinion. But I think there's a case to be had for search engine optimization, and the plumber who needs more people who have plumbing emergencies in Lisbon to call his plumbing company versus the competitors. Copywriting is pretty low on that list, and content is just any content will probably get him up, because all that user who has their water heater exploding needs is a phone number, because they're like, beep, 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 beep. Please come over at this exact minute. And you say, I will be there in 47 seconds. Thank you. You just got your job, right? So there's not that much sales needed in that moment when it's urgent. So yeah, to go all the way around to what you said in the beginning, I can't choose both. I choose both.
Exactly. Absolutely. But I knew you would choose copywriting initially, because it's really like a key skill to have.
It's so difficult too.
Exactly. We have one audience question, Miles.
Cool, man.
Louise is asking, how do you keep motivation to continue with a hustle, like a side hustle, even if you were having bad results?
Yeah, and that's one of the keys to everything, right? So Tiago, like you're in Ireland, in Dublin. We're in Dublin.
Dublin.
Yeah, and so you're working for Google. The weather is very different than Portugal, not nearly as nice of weather. And you're doing drop shipping, that's not working. And it's just like, oh my gosh, how do you do it? Like, it's a vision for a better future is my answer for that. It's kind of a belief and a knowing that, like, I'm on this earth for more than being a debt slave and a corporate slave, is the way I really looked at it. So for me, it was away from motivation. My father worked for the same corporation for 33 years. They fired him 2 years before his retirement, which means they pay him less in his retirement, and they brought somebody else on. And I just saw that all go down after he gave 33 years of his life to one corporation. And it was like, I can't trust corporations. Jesus. So for me, I felt like there was no other option for me. I didn't have a choice. I had to figure out the side hustle, because the moment my employer had an opportunity to fire me and replace me with someone cheaper, they would take that opportunity, or they would sell the company, and that company that bought them out would gut the whole company and leave me. So it's know yourself. What motivates you?
Mhm.
Is the allure of being a digital nomad and getting to go work from Canggu and Bali and getting to work from Thailand and getting to work from the beaches of the world. I spent 4 years building my business, traveling the world with no home base, just 2 bags. My wife and I just traveling for 4 years straight. Like, is that strong enough of a motivation to get you to move? Or is the fear of the fact that the corporations are going to crush you as soon as you can, or the euro is going to implode, and if you don't have your money game situation sorted out when the euro implodes, you're going to be in the bottom percent, but those who have their money game figured out before that happens probably will be able to create great wealth when that happens, right? Like, that's right? So what is your main motivation? And then repeat it to yourself, get really clear. And that low point of my life, hitting ground floor, hitting the bottom with my wife, moving back with my parents, never again. I just hit a point where, like, if I have to work 20 hours a day every day for the rest of my life, I'm never going back to that place where I was, of tail between my legs. I have to move with my parents. Can I borrow some money to buy a car? Like, what did my parents think of me in that moment? Like, what the fuck did Miles do? Are you serious? Like, how did you get here? Right? Like, never again. Yeah. And from that, I found a new level of motivation to go. And I know myself, and I'm usually more motivated by the challenges and these other things than I am the allure. I have big goals that I'm shooting for sure, but it's the, like, I'm never going back there again, that really keeps me motivated to keep showing up and grinding.
Yeah, absolutely. About self-awareness. What really motivates you? You have to find that completely. Okay, Miles, reaching the ends, but I just want to ask if you could, who are you following online nowadays? I know you're completely a producer of content, not a consumer, but do you have someone that you are following more actively now recently?
So,
for specific marketing, entrepreneurship, business.
Yeah, I listen to audiobooks. I listen to audio. I try not to do YouTube because I can't multitask on YouTube. I have to clean the kitchen every day. I have a large garden that I care for, so I'm outside with a lawnmower. So my earbuds, and I listen to a lot.
Audible only, yeah.
Audible, Dan Kennedy. I do like some of Dan Kennedy's stuff. He's kind of he's a little farther on the spectrum than I am, about do whatever it takes to get more money. But I like hearing other opinions. Jay Abraham is a brilliant mentor. Seth Godin I love his newest book, This Is Marketing. Andre Chaperone's a good guy. He's not too far from you, actually. He's down like Gibraltar, so he's just south of you.
Oh no, you didn't meet him yet.
No, haven't met him yet. When I was in España, we were trying to hang out, and it didn't work. I had to, I'm just tired of traveling at this point. And it's like, 2 more flights and a rental car. Like, sorry, dude, I'm going home. I want my bed at this point.
Digital nomad life, probably. You've had enough of it.
After 4 years, it's funny how the pendulum goes both ways. Who else am I into? I study investing and finance a bunch from randoms, and I really just, at this point, I don't allow too many people's opinions in, because most people's opinions are based on getting me to believe what they want me to believe so they can sell me something. Mm-hmm. And even the smart, like the Frank Kerns and the Russell Brunsons and these really smart marketers, the Mike Dillards, they're insanely good marketers. My hat is off to them, but I can't pay attention to them at all, because they're going to convince me I need to buy their thing. I buy their thing and it's rubbish, and I paid $3,000 for a rubbish course, and I'm like, angry. So I just block it all out. I have unsubscribed from every email list I'm on. Anyone who sends me a webinar registration link instantly gets, I unsubscribe from them instantly, because it's that I guard my attention and my focus at such a great, like, Tiago, how difficult was it to get me on this freaking podcast?
Yeah, exactly. 2 months at least.
And I've wanted to do this, right? I know you, and like, you've been around, and I've wanted to do this, but I get so engulfed in my projects, and I'm like, what am I creating this with? That really is my dominant force. And it's only when I'm vacuuming the house, doing these little things, that I put on the earbuds and try to listen to something uplifting. Prosperity Consciousness, Audible book by Frederick Lehrman. Highly recommend that. And trying to figure out the money game, right? So it's one thing to make money, and it's another thing to keep money or to multiply money without losing money. Right? Yep, that's it. And so many people will make a lot of money and then it'll all disappear. I got a new video that I'm about to do on that. That's really interesting. Yeah.
Awesome, Miles. Okay, reached the end. How can people know more about you, Miles?
I'm the only Miles Beckler in the world, so you just need to search for Miles Beckler. I'm on every platform, Twitter, and Instagram, and Facebook, but YouTube's where I put out most of my content, and my blog is going to show up if you search Miles Beckler too. It's milesbeckler.com, and no, you can do it. Just go for it. Give it a shot. You'd be amazed at what you can create. It takes longer than we want. 3 years in, you'd be amazed at what you create. And Tiago, I look forward to following your path to what you're creating, because you're on the path, my friend. I'm appreciative of you.
Awesome, Miles. Thank you so much. You're lucky to have that name, because Tiago Faria, there's a ton of Brazilian players. And but I'm going to get there.
That's awesome, man.
Okay.
Obrigado, Tiago.
Thank you so much. You're my mentor, my inspiration, and it was a pleasure having you here, Miles.
Cheers.
See you soon. Ok, foi o final então do 19º episódio do podcast. Espero que tenham gostado do vídeo. Se gostou, por favor, deixe o seu gosto. Subscrevam o canal para ver os futuros vídeos. Vêm mais entrevistas para a semana já. Muito obrigado pelo seu tempo e até à próxima. Obrigado.